We begin with startling new developments in the Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphrey showdown, coming up at their divorce trial with two big victories for Kim this week, and the trial set for May 6th obviously hasn't even started yet. But the judge has just ruled that no cameras will be allowed in the courtroom, and he has reportedly just denied a request from Kris Humphries to review some of Kim's emails from closed accounts. So are these latest victories a sign that Kim Kardashian is going to be the one to come out on top here? With us tonight, someone who has been right there in the thick of some of the biggest celebrity divorces of our time. Marilyn Chinitz is the former divorce attorney for both Tom Cruise and Michael Douglas. She is with me tonight in New York. It's great having you here, Marilyn.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So you were right there at the center of Tom Cruise's divorce from Katie Holmes over this past year. You've got some real insight into these big star battles. Kris missed the first mandatory hearing for the trial on Friday. The judge was just furious about that. And now we have these new rulings this week. So does it seem to you that these little victories here could perhaps be leading to or somehow indicating that there's going to be one big victory for Kim?
Well, I don't know that this necessarily means that there's a big victory for Kim. The trial hasn't begun yet. The fact that Kris did not show up for a mandatory hearing is something that's going to be addressed by the court. Of course, he claims that he could not make his flight and therefore it was not an intentional act on his part. That won't go necessarily in any way towards the merits of what's going to happen in the upcoming trial.
You just don't want to tick off the judge at the end of the day. But Kris,
Always.
of course, as we know, is trying to prove fraud. He's claiming that Kim married him to boost the ratings on her reality show. So, Marilyn, given what we know about their reality TV history, do you see an easy road ahead for Kris, or is this actually going to be pretty tough to prove in your mind?
I think it's a very difficult theory on his part. It's a very novel and interesting one, because if Kim would go forward with the divorce action, there's a prenuptial agreement. That prenuptial agreement would be upheld, and Kris would be out of the box in terms of trying to get some of the financial rewards of what they earned during their 72-day marriage. But having sued now for an annulment, Kris is saying if I have grounds for an annulment, the prenuptial agreement should be set aside. And that raises a lot of interesting issues. So I think this is a fairly, in my opinion, a desperate attempt on his part to get something where the prenuptial agreement would have barred him from getting anything.
Okay, so to be clear, he proves fraud in this case. His lawyer has success doing that. Then it's an annulment and not a divorce, and then he could end up walking away with a bunch of Kim's money.
Well, not so easy. The fact is that if it is claimed that the marriage never existed, then on what basis, you would ask, should he have any money if there was no marriage? So it's an equity argument that he would make, and he would make the argument, why should Kim walk away with millions of dollars that we jointly earned during this period of time? She would be unjustly enriched. I'm entitled to some of those monies. Now that's an equity argument to be made before the court. Very difficult. And I think he has a very difficult road ahead of him.
Here's what I really want to understand, though, Marilyn. It's been 18 months now since Kim filed for divorce after, of course, just 72 days of marriage. Why in the world is this taking so long, do you think?
Well, I think there could be a lot of reasons. If she had proceeded with the divorce action, it would have been over and we would have been done. I think Kris is really kicking up a lot of storm and almost sounds like a petulant child, insisting that this case go on far longer than it should go on. It was a short marriage. It should have been concluded months ago. And it's unfortunate that this is what drags on.
Yeah. Well, it's great to get your insight, particularly having worked with some of the biggest stars like Tom Cruise and Michael Douglas. Marilyn Chinitz, thank you again for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.